multi-site event on enabling low-emission, haze-free land management in Mekong region. The forum is co-hosted by the Thailand government together with Global Environment Center and in partnership with the ASEAN and the International Fund for Agricultural Development (IFAD). My name is Adeline Tan and I'll be your MC for this session. Before we start, if anyone who has not register your attendance, please do so using the QR code on the slide. Thank you. To set the stage for our discussion today is the esteemed Dr. Wong Sok, who will give the opening remarks. Dr. Wong heads the Environment Division at the ASEAN Secretariat. Dr. Wong is a passionate and dedicated environmental professional with over 20 years of experience in global environment compliance and governance, including in-depth knowledge of strategic environmental planning, environmental diplomacy, and operation control of environmental management system. Dr. Wong Sok works extensively on environmental management in Southeast Asia, involves in close collaboration with government agencies, international organizations, development partners, CSO, and communities to make significant strategic contributions to the region's environmental management. Let us put our hands together to welcome Dr. Wong Sok.
Thank you very much. I think it's my great pleasure to join you all today. The colleague from, I think I see Mr. Juttapun, that's from Ministry of Environment of Thailand. I think it's grateful to see you here and, for my opportunity to present at the Thai Pavilion as a part of our big ASEAN community. Good afternoon, Mr. Jahan Kodri. Sorry, I have technical glitches. The Global Lead Environment and Climate IFAD and Mr. Faisal Parish, the Global Environment Center, and also David Gang, the Rikhoff, and ladies and gentlemen that join us at this session. It is my great pleasure to join you all today at the COP28 SAI event enabling low carbon emission, low emission haze-free land management in Mekong region. My appreciation go to also Thailand government, IFAD, MASA program, GEC for the excellent arrangement made for convening of this session. The Mekong sub-region country, namely Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, recently convened successfully the 20 meeting of the sub-regional ministerial meeting committee on transboundary high pollution in the Mekong region that the 12th MSC Mekong on the 13th November 2023 in Vietnam. So I'm pleased to highlight that the Mekong sub-region remains strongly interested in their commitment and to enhance its coordination cooperation on transboundary haze pollution, which is, I believe, quite important contribute to the transboundary, not only transboundary haze, but also climate change. The meeting also, among others, recalled the transboundary haze situation and the very unhealthy level of air quality in northern ASEAN sub-region early this year. The meeting further acknowledged the effect of climate change, such as more frequent drought and other extreme weather events that may increase the risk of elevate the hotspot activity transboundary smoke haze occurrence in 2019. As such, Mekong sub-region reiterated its commitment to intensify in-country action through respective national action plan and prioritizing fire prevention, early warning, monitoring, and fire suppression to minimize the occurrence of transboundary haze pollution during the period of drier weather. As you may have noted from the haze agreement, there are also the Chiang Rai Plan of Action. The implementation of the Chiang Rai Plan of Action, the joint indicator of progressive hotspot reduction until 2025, as well as bilateral and trilateral cooperation are among noteworthy initiatives of the Mekong sub-region. The Mekong sub-region countries have boldly agreed to join the hand together to achieve the hotspot reduction target for the year 2024 at the 35% and the 2025 at 40% hotspot reduction target under the new target of the Chiang Rai 2017 Plan of Action. In order to achieve so, with the dry season soon to enter the Mekong sub-region, we need to better prepare on all aspects of fire and haze, including prevention, monitoring, and mitigation. Ladies and gentlemen, the impact of the climate change, it's real, as you have already joined many other events and you also observe over the time on the climate change sort of issue. So this climate change issue also exacerbates the environmental condition and in the region, including the heat wave, drought impact to crop production and also increased forest fire incident. So we will not forget the transboundary haze pollution situation in the Mekong sub-region early this year, which is Nikkei Asia also described as ASEAN latest air polycative, and also with that, ASEAN minister recently adopted the second ASEAN Haze-Free Roadmap 2023-2030 and also ASEAN Peatland Management Strategy 2023-2030, as well as ASEAN Investment Framework, which is under the support of the Global Environmental Center. So I would like to call upon the continued support of the Mekong country through aligning national policy and priority with the vision of haze-free ASEAN by 2030. We need to support and engagement with all relevant stakeholders to increase awareness and preparedness on transboundary haze events within and across the sector and discipline. I call upon all of us to improve and strengthen our cooperation and coordination for a concerted response of the authority, community, private sector in the possible event of haze and forest fire through the multiple stakeholder engagement and collaboration investment. I'm confident that throughout the stepping up effort and action, appropriate technology and early warning preparedness action, and your active involvement and contribution in haze, this really contribute not only to haze-free ASEAN region, but also to our climate change agenda and also to our resilient ASEAN community. With that, I wish you a great success for this Thai event. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wong, for a deep and insightful remarks to highlight ASEAN's roadmap to mitigate transboundary haze problems in ASEAN. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now move on to our panel discussion. I would like to introduce the moderator of our panel discussion, Mr. Faisal Parish. Mr. Faisal Parish is the director of our Global Environment Center and heading the MASA program. He has been a key figure in environmental management across East and Southeast Asia since 1998. Mr. Faisal work focuses on building partnerships for natural resources and environmental protection involving government, civil society, the private sector, and communities. He has contributed to projects in over 20 countries and played a key role in sustainable palm oil practices and peatlands management. He has been instrumental in addressing transboundary haze in ASEAN, leading the ASEAN peatland management strategy and promoting community involvement in ecosystem protection. Without further delay, ladies and gentlemen, let us together welcome on stage Mr. Faisal Parish with a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and very good morning to all of you. Welcome to the Thai Pavilion. Thank you all for attending this event. So we're going to have a series of presentation and a panel discussion. And welcome to not only those here in at COP28 physically, but we have a number of participants online, including Dr. Kesani, the head of the Thai Transboundary Haze Division in the ministry, who will be giving us a presentation shortly online. So I think we're a little behind the time, and some of our speakers have other commitments, so I think we'll get straight into the presentation to give us more time for discussion and interaction later on. So let me first call on the first speaker, Serena Liu from the Global Environment Center, the manager of the peatland program, who will be giving the briefing on the ASEAN investment framework for haze-free sustainable land management. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Faisal. Thank you, Dr. Wong, and then the panel. Good morning for those who are attending physically here in Dubai, and good afternoon back in Southeast Asia. So I would like to quickly run through this presentation deck because I have two speakers running after me because they are rushing for their commitments. So this is regarding the ASEAN investment framework for haze-free sustainable land management. So we know that transitory smoke haze is the most serious regional environment problems, whether in the north or in the south. So many in the south, 90% of the haze come from the peatland fires. But in the north, we know that we have a lot of this crop expansion and also agriculture waste burning. So this is what happened before. We have the northern ASEAN dominated by fires linked to slash and burn, and also contract farming for maize, and then that leads to degradation and deforestation. So we can see the hill forests being cut off, and then we have the hotspot, and at the end we have the haze issue, which is domestic haze and also transitory haze. We got this data or the maps from the open sources, so it's not that we create ourselves. So it's from the satellite and also from the specialized meteorological agencies. So the haze issue will have a serious health impact to human that include the standard growth and also increased mortality for babies. Hotspot detected in ASEAN region in this year. So we have the hotspot presidency in the early of the year in the north and also the second half of the year in the south. So we can see the hotspot accumulated in the region quite badly this year. And then we have the haze issue as well. So the impact of haze in the Southeast Asia resulted 50 million hectares of land in ASEAN is prone to repeated fire or new fires, and then 70 million of people impacted by smoke, 1 to 2 billion tons of CO2 equivalent emitted per year, and up to 100,000 premature deaths in 2015. Of course, that will lead to the economic impact losses, which can be up to 35 billion. So all these activities or the agriculture or development related to the haze will decrease our tourism activities and also the productivity of the agriculture. So this ASEAN investment framework for haze-free sustainable land management is a platform to build partnership and help generate resources for the member states, priority needs and also opportunity for peatland, forest, land and haze management, supporting implementation of plans related to climate change, biodiversity and also sustainable investment. We try to leverage initially target of $1.5 billion to support the implementation of newly endorsed ASEAN peatland management strategy 2023 to 2030 and also the ASEAN haze-free roadmap 2023 to 2030. So this ASEAN investment framework was developed with support from the MAFSA, which is supported by IFAD, International Fund for Agricultural Development, through this MAFSA program in 2022 to 2023 and endorsed by the all 10 ministers of environment in August this year. So we have the guiding documents to develop this investment framework. We have this ASEAN Blueprint 2025, haze-free roadmap, the APMS, and also the national plan on peatlands. This investment framework also linked to the NDC. So now we are talking about the NDC, we're talking about the try to reduce the emissions. So these are the pledge by the member states, how they want to reduce and how much they want to reduce the greenhouse gas emission. So the goal and the key operating principle of the investment framework, so we have a common goal to have haze-free ASEAN by 2030. So the principles, we have 4 principles here. whole of ASEAN multi-stakeholder approach, which we will link up with the multi-partner and also multi-channel approach rather than centralized control approach, and also to support and build on existing institutions and also policies, and address the root causes and drivers. Okay, now you can see a very complicated table. It's a big contents, and we have 5 investment framework objectives, and also the outcomes, strategies, and also the stakeholders involved. For the first objective, we link it to the sustainable agriculture and community sector to reduce the haze problem and also to prevent the transitory haze. So our strategy is to link up or the establish a haze-free commodity supply chain and implement sustainable practices. Strategy 1.2 to invest cost structure business adoption of circular economy. So we heard about a lot of this circular economy in the world and also in the region. For the objective 2, we focus on this indigenous people and local community to transition to haze-free land management. Although all of us know about the traditional knowledge of the community, but how we can better link it up with the haze prevention. Objective number 3, linked to the sustainable forest and peatland management. We try to halt to large-scale degradation of forests and peatlands by fire by 2030. And the 4th is linked to the sustainable finance. So reduce the finance for activity degrading the land and increase access to financing for haze-free sustainable land management. For the objective number 5, we link it up with the enhancement and improvement of policy and governance, and also strengthen the capacity development and awareness for the haze-free sustainable land management in the region. So all these objectives, they are basically linked to the global goals that they listed here for the 5 key elements that we have identified. The first, to transform agricultural waste into green products. This linked to the commodity and also to the circular economy. Then number 2, we have the conserving and restoring forests and peatlands via innovative financing. Number 3, integrate zero burning and haze-free approaches into community supply chain. Number 4, enhancing capacity to better predict, prevent, and monitor and control the fires. Number 5, develop multi-stakeholder dialogue and financing platform. So this is the indicative funding frame in line with the objective. So we have 5 objectives just now. So we came out this estimation together with the ASEAN member states. So we will need $2.2 billion for this. So this is basically initial implementation, not to say that after the 2.2 target, we stop there. No, we're going to move forward on the activities and also the actions on the ground. So this is the initial target, okay? For the ongoing and pipeline projects that we have been doing and try to search online through the open sources and some input from the member states and also the funding agencies, we found that we have like 73 ongoing projects or pipeline or proposals that could be linked up with this investment framework. And it amounts a bit of less than $1 billion. But this is the existing project. It's not yet leveraged by the investment framework itself. So we need to work harder and also smarter as well with the funding agencies and also the stakeholders. So the next steps, we need to establish a task force and a development team to facilitate the investment framework implementation and develop a detailed implementation plan, and to promote at the national, regional, and international meetings. Undertake formal consultation and roundtable meetings with potential for financing and implementation partners to match the needs of the member state and also the funding agencies, and also to expand the pipeline and portfolio of the projects. So I think this is my last slide. If we have time, maybe you can click on the link, and then there's actually the animation video. But if not, then maybe we can put it towards the end of the session. So for that, I thank for your attention.
Thank you very much, Serena. Let me introduce the next speaker. And we're going to go from the regional approach down to the local approach. and Dr. David Gantz from Recoft, who's an expert on community-based land and fire management in the region, is giving a presentation about addressing fire and haze through community-based fire management. Dr. Gantz.
Hello and Swadee Kap. I'm coming from Bangkok. I run a regional center on community forestry. One of the topics we do work on is community-based fire management. I'm actually representing one of the 73 projects that Serena just mentioned. It's funded by the U.S. Forest Service. The U.S. Forest Service is particularly interested in tech transfer and supporting things like community-based fire management in Southeast Asia. So this is the reason you see a lot of logos at the bottom. USAID is also supporting this, as well as State Department. So without further ado, what I'd like to talk about is the local approaches, what is working, what's not working, how to integrate some of the technology along with community-based fire management. First and foremost, I want to say that I cannot do this presentation without a large group of staff that are doing these implementation projects on the ground. They're based in 7 countries, but the focus here is really on the Mekong countries, where we are effectively trialing different community-based approaches to reduce fire on the landscape and obviously affect PM 2.5 and haze throughout the region. One of the things that we know is that climate change and land use shifts are really escalating the problem. We're seeing fire behavior in these local communities that we've never seen before. The fire is not staying on the ground, the fire is actually moving into the trees, and we have uncontrolled forest fires, which we've never really had to address. This means we need to attack these issues with different solutions. As a result of the fire behavior, we're also seeing higher particulate matter, higher levels of PM 2.5, and higher levels of haze throughout the region. The primary cause of fires in Southeast Asia is from human beings. And so we need to underscore the need for solutions that are centered around people. We need people-centered approaches to address fire in Southeast Asia. Now a little bit on the economics. We need to look at the source of fire and why people are using fire. We have to change the perception that fire is only an economic concern to now a public health concern. This is really important, and I think we've seen this at this COP28, a lot of attention on public health, and a public health day really dedicated to look at this. We've seen the rapid economic growth in the ASEAN region, but it's really unequal. Certain countries are doing very well and other countries are falling behind. So we need to look at solutions like social forestry that try to equal the playing field. And social forestry services extend beyond just the economic returns, offering environmental and societal benefits. This is not just social forestry, but this is also village forestry in Laos. It's also community forestry. It's got different names in different country contexts, but ultimately we're using social forestry as the overlying messaging as aligning with the ASEAN Social Forestry Working Group. The ASEAN Haze-Free Investment Framework provides, I think, a very unique opportunity to look at these community-based approaches and linking them to the NDCs as well as the global goals, the Sustainable Development Goals. Serena and Faisal have already explained what this investment framework can do. We are very eager to see that it gets financed. We are very eager to also contribute through the projects that make up the 73 and close to $1 billion, not all implemented by us, of course, but we would like to see how these projects can be scaled up and the lessons learned from these projects effectively used to leverage the call for $2.2 billion. Now, I'd also like to talk about the global community and the importance of this in terms of using the technology that's publicly available to us. Serena showed an image also using remote sensing. In April of this year, the region experienced its highest or hottest day on record. This also provided us an opportunity to look at not just the fire starts, but the smoke and haze predicament resulting from this very, very hot season. We're going to be experiencing a similarly difficult fire season coming up, so it's very important to learn from what we did well and what we perhaps didn't do so well in the last fire season. So similar to what Serena shows, this is the hot spots on that particular day. You can see it's not limited to the southern ASEAN states. It's very heavily focused on the northern ASEAN member states. And now we have to turn this kind of data into action. How do we effectively do that? We know that PM 2.5 is on everyone's mind, but there's also a whole suite of gases that are very detrimental to public health. How do we get a better sense of what the implications are? And how do we forecast what the 2.5 levels might look like in the future? Not just taking the hot spots, but also effectively looking at the PM 2.5 and the haze using newly available data that's served up through programs like Severe Southeast Asia. This is a new tool for PM 2.5 forecasting provided through USAID and NASA through the Severe Southeast Asia Hub hosted by the Asian Disaster Preparedness Center. And you can see here the PM 2.5 projected in Thailand and Laos, and such a tool is about to be expanded to the other ASEAN member states. What's important with this is a 3-day forecast and can really help governments and local provincial governments work on improving their on-the-ground action to reduce PM 2.5 in certain areas. This is a little bit about the technology and aligning the PM 2.5 forecasting with satellite imagery like VIRS and actual verification of hotspots on the ground. When we're looking at innovating fire management strategies, we cannot rely only on these high-tech solutions. We need to effectively work with communities on the ground to also make sure that fire alert systems are addressing traditional fire management problems and effectively using the technology and providing the technology to farmers in a user-friendly fashion. We can't just assume that everyone has a smartphone and knows how to use the technology. We also need to effectively make sure that these tools are not just viewed on the ground, but lead to changes of behavior or lead to actual climate action. The other component that's very important is to address the scarcity of fire information in the region. We know that we don't have a lot of fire expertise. This is why international folks like the U.S. Forest Service come in. That's why I've been working on fire for 25 years in this region. We need to have a proliferation of international fire experts exchanging that information to local fire experts. We need university professors to become the next generation of fire experts for the region, from the region. We also need to advocate integrating some of these low-tech solutions into the high-tech advancements that I just talked about. Ultimately, what I'd like to see is a landscape that looks like this, move to a landscape that looks like this. Just going back, we have landscapes like this in Southeast Asia, where we have fires contributing to PM 2.5 and the haze. With these kind of community-based interventions, this landscape could be looking like this. So this is very important for us to work on effectively now, so that we have addressed the transboundary haze issue but also have public health in mind for the next generation and the generation after that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David, both highlighting the community aspect, but also how we are able to track with technology the changing situation and the severity of the impacts, not only on the climate, but on public health and socio-economy of the societies across the region. Let us move back a little bit to the financing requirements, which I think have been identified quite significantly in the last two presentations. And let me invite Mr. Jahan Chowdhury, who's a global lead for environment and climate of the International Fund for Agricultural Development, to give his perspective on from where we could generate such resources and what we need to do to stimulate financial support to address the issues within the region. Jahan Chowdhury, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So this is the 10th day of COP. I think we have organized altogether over 3,000 different events. And I'm sure you're already very tired of all the talk. Unfortunately, I don't have any flashy PowerPoints, so you're stuck in between my face and my voice. I'll try to keep it very short. I want to focus on three different things. The first, I want to talk about why peatlands is so important. The second, I want to talk about investment opportunities. And third, I want to talk about how do you actually try to bring the demand and supply closer together. Let me start with why peatlands are so important, especially from climate perspective. Now, as you know, peatlands is covering approximately 3% of the world's surface. But if you think about the mitigation potential it can offer when it comes to carbon storage in soil, up to 30%. And that is the power of peatlands, up to 30%. So when I was looking at the wall here, when Thailand would like to deliver on their NDC targets, it's very critical that Thailand also takes this potential into account. However, if we leave it unchecked, if it's degraded, then peatland can also be a source of carbon emission, approximately 5% of the global emission. So on one hand, if we harness the potential, it offers tremendous opportunities. But if we don't take care of peatlands, it can be a major risk factor. Now, where are the investment opportunities? Plenty of investment opportunities when we think about peatlands. We are talking about sustainable agriculture. We are talking about ecotourism. We are talking about water management. Peatland has the capacity to store approximately 90% of the water. But at the same time, we can also think about the carbon market. And at COP28, there has been a lot of discussion about carbon market. So it's picking up again. But let's not also forget about another new idea that is emerging, which is biodiversity credit. So we should also think about biodiversity credit. We should have it in our horizon when it comes to investment opportunity. Plus, the Global Biodiversity Framework Fund that has been capitalized already, and there is potential for us to think about how do I link biodiversity benefits with peatlands. So there are investment opportunities out there. Then the third point is about what is the actual need. So I was listening to the presentation from the investment framework. We heard it's approximately $2 billion, and the speaker was very cautious about the number. $2,000 billion is a starting point. It's not the end, it's a starting point. Now, let's take $2 billion and think about what is the ASEAN GDP in 2022. It's approximately $3.8 trillion. So you take 3.8 trillion US dollars and you compare it with 2 billion US dollars. The return on that investment can be so much greater. So it's not that the resources are not there, they are there. It's about presenting the business case behind peatlands investment. So how do we present the business case? I would talk about 3 areas of focus. First is, it's very important for us to think about building the pipeline. We need to build that pipeline that can demonstrate to the private sector, and the reason I'm focusing on the private sector is because the money is there with the private sector. Public sector fiscal space, as you know, is very limited. So we have to rely on the private sector. Now, if we want to attract the private sector, it is super important for us to give the persistent and consistent market signal. That market signal is super important. And how do you get that market signal? By generating pipeline of bankable projects. That can tell you about the cash flow, that can talk about long-term revenue, that will be structurally low when it comes to the transaction cost. But building the pipeline cannot come out of nowhere if we do not have peatlands in our policy dimension, in our strategies at a national level, at a regional level. So where do we reflect the importance of peatlands? We have to reflect them, for example, in our NDCs. So there is an upcoming opportunity. Countries are going to be revising their NDCs next year for submission in 2025. And this provides us with a room of opportunity, maybe a small window of opportunity to actually reflect the importance of peatlands when it comes to climate and business opportunity, and make sure it is reflected in the NDCs. That is going to be critical. But remember, NDCs are not implemented in isolation. NDCs have to be converted into national development plan, it has to be converted into sectoral strategy, and there has to be costing behind this. So you may have come up with a 2 billion US dollars here, but it is important for us to provide more granular costing. How is this disaggregated across various different sectors? Now, talking about sectors, the second important point is bundling. Sometimes it is important for us to bundle from a sectoral perspective and also from a regional perspective. It is perfectly feasible for us to think about project that is an aggregation of the projects in ASEAN countries. And when you have a bundling approach, it means that you are giving the volume and scale that is important for the private sector. They don't want to invest in small transaction. You need to provide sufficient volume so they are willing to put their initial investment. So the bundling is very important. And as I mentioned, you know, peatlands can cover various different sectors. It can cover water, it can cover agriculture. And what we have done through our analysis, we found out when you are bundling different sectors, so for example, agriculture and water, your return on investment is actually going to be 5.14% compared to, this is more, 5.1% more compared to if you actually focus on one single sector. So that bundling idea when you are designing the project is very important. The third one, I mentioned about the private sector, right? But private sector is not going to come without the government stake in any transaction, or most transaction, I should say. So that's where blending of financial instrument is very important. And it is the blending of the public sector resources together with the private sector resources. Where can public sector come in? Public sector can come in when it comes to deploying risk mitigation instruments. So for example, guarantee, credit enhancement mechanism, etc. So the private sector can offset some of the risk that they may face when it comes to an unknown territory. Yeah? So they want to invest, but they also want to make sure that investment is safeguarded through the deployment of risk mitigation instruments by the public sector. And then the private sector can come in through equity investment, through loan and other mechanisms, and also bring their expertise when it comes to technology. So, just to remind, three things that we are talking about when it comes to actually giving the market signal. We are talking about building the pipeline, we are talking about bundling, and we are talking about blending. So with that note, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. I hope you found that useful, and I hope this speech was not so boring in absence of a PowerPoint presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jahan, for highlighting the potential ways of generating finance and bringing in different stakeholders from investment to the finance sector and the private sector. Bringing us back to the situation on the ground, let us move to our colleague who's joining us from Bangkok. Dr. Kisani is the Director of Transboundary Air Pollution Subdivision of the Pollution Control Department of Thailand, and she's going to be expanding on the real situation on the ground over the past years and what are the coming prospects and what are the strategies on the way forward. So, Dr. Kesani, hope you can hear. Yes, we can see you well now here in the meeting room. Glad you can join us. I think you may still be muted. We can't hear you yet. Sound, please.
Yes, I already unmute myself.
Yes, yes, we can hear you now. Can we put the full screen for the presentation? Okay. Please put it on full screen. Thank you.
Okay, is it okay now?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
So shall I start?
Yep. Please start.
Thank you. So first of all, สวัสดีค่ะ and good morning and good afternoon from Thailand. First of all, thank you very much for inviting Pollution Control Department from Thailand to share our action on addressing transboundary haze pollution in Mekong sub-region. So first, let me introduce you to the transboundary haze in Mekong sub-region. The situation, we are looking at the hotspot count number, and we are observing the number of hotspots that increasing in 2023 in 5 countries in Mekong sub-regions. And these data actually from the ASEAN Specialized Meteorological Center updated in October 23. And for Thailand, we are concerned not only for the hotspot number, but also for the burn area that could be detected by the satellite technologies. And with this graph, you will see that in the northern part of Thailand, most of the burn area are detected in the National Reserve Forest area and also the National Protected Forest area. And what about the rest of Thailand? On your right-hand side, you see that the graph show you that the majority proportion of burn area are located in agricultural area for the rest of the area of Thailand. Does this mean that Thailand is the agricultural-based country? So our farmer rely on the living style of preparing land or clearing land, and then after the harvesting season, they are just burning the waste of the agricultural pieces. So they just burn it up because it is the most non-expensive and the most convenient way. So with all the data that we have observed, this year in 2024, Thailand has set the PM2.5 mitigation measures. So we are setting our main target areas, which is the northern part of Thailand. We are aiming to reduce about 50% of burn area in the forest area and also in the agricultural area. Not only that we focus on the main target area, We also focus on the other target areas in the rest of the country as well. So in the rest of the forest area, we are able to reduce the burn area for 20%. And also in the rest of the agricultural area in our country, we are aiming to reduce the burn area for 10%. And also we are focusing to reduce the emission of PM2.5 in urban and community area as well. So if the all target area has been achieved, then we are expecting to see the output for this plan. So we are looking for the reducing of 40% of PM2.5 concentration in 17 provinces in northern part of Thailand. The concentration of PM2.5 should be reduced by 40%. In addition to that, we think if our target area has been achieved, then we should be able to reduce the days of PM2.5 exceeding standard by 30%. And with all those output, we are expect that we will have the benefit on the better quality of people life. It should be benefit on the tourism business and also reduce health effect costs. And I have to say that Thailand has very much involved and very active in terms of transboundary haze management, in terms of ASEAN and also regional and sub-regional level. So the agreement on ASEAN transboundary haze pollution has been completely ratified in 2016. And in that year, the first haze-free ASEAN roadmap has been adopted. And in 2017, Thailand proposed the Chiang Rai Plan of Action to set the target on hotspot reduction for Mekong countries in 2017. Until 2020, the meeting of ASEAN Haze Agreement has also agreed to extend the Chiang Rai Plan of Action. And in 2021, the ASEAN are agreed for the joint KPI on the hotspot reduction. And this year, the most recent year, the second haze-free ASEAN roadmap has been adopted by the meeting bodies. When I say the meeting, let's have a look on the structure of the ministerial meeting. There are the conference of the parties, which was held in Laos PDR on August 2023. And also there was the committee under the conference of the party. And Thailand has been part of both sub-regional ministerial steering committees in the Mekong sub-region and also the southern part of the region. And the 12th MSC Mekong at Vietnam on 30th November was just finished. And Thailand will be the host country for the next MSC meeting and TWG for the southern part of the region for next year. So our nation action, I have to say that it is written in line with all the transboundary haze pollution with the guidance of the haze-free ASEAN roadmap, the Chiang Rai Plan of Action, and also the most recent and updated one, the Clear Sky Strategy. Take a look at the concept of the second roadmap for ASEAN cooperation on transboundary haze pollution control with means of implementation from this year toward 2030. We are highlighting on the enhancing and implementing sub-regional collaboration and also to promote sustainable management of agricultural land and forest to prevent large scale of land and forest fires. In that note, the 12 MSC Mekong countries has agreed to join hands together to achieve the hotspot reduction target for 2024 at 35% and 40% for the year 2025. This is the target that has been set under Chiang Rai Plan of Action for 2022 to 2025. And also on April 7 this year, the bilateral consultation among the leaders of Thailand, Myanmar, and Laos PDRs agreed to enhance cooperation and develop a joint action plan under Clear Sky strategies. And Clear Sky strategy joint action plan will have the short-term plan, and then medium-term plan, and then the long-term plan. So in terms of the ministerial level, our Prime Minister had just made the official visit to Laos PDR, and the Minister of Environment from Laos PDR has also paid visit to our Minister of Natural Resources and Environment. And they agreed to create cooperation with neighboring countries, such as creating data related to M2.5, soil risk map, accessibility payment, and agricultural management in that area. Not only to enhance the capacity building and training that Thailand has been provided to Myanmar, Laos PDRs, and Cambodia, but Thailand also support air quality monitoring units to Myanmar, Laos PDR, and Cambodia as per that request. On the way forward, I would say that we are expecting to see the intensified effort and further strengthen action and measure to control air pollution source and to utilize existing cooperation mechanisms to exchange best practice and share knowledge and information among Mekong countries. And we would like to strengthen the inspiration to reduce health effects from air pollution and to limit negative effects of air pollution and climate change. So that would be the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kisney, for your presentation and a very good introduction about what has been done by the Thai government and together with the adjacent countries in the Mekong sub-region. Let us now move to the panel discussion, and also we'll have some time for interaction with the audience. So can I ask Serena and Dr. Vong to join here, and Dr. Kisney, yes, you're in the center stage now, the biggest of our panel there. And I think that we will just start off briefly with one round of questions from the audience, and then I will have some additional questions or comments to the discussion. So from the audience, are there any questions?
Thank you so much for this panel discussion. It's really good to hear that Haze is being discussed at COP28. I'm Helena Varki from University Malaya, and I have a few questions and maybe requests for more information about this framework. So I hope that I can get some response on these things. The first is, in terms of this investment framework, it would be great to have a bit more clarity about what this investment part means here, in the sense that is MAFSA trying to create some sort of a clearinghouse for funding to come in and then decide where funding is going to be distributed, whether at the national or is it going to be like civil society projects or something like that. So just a bit more clarity about how that structure of the what do you call this, financing or investment works lah. So that's my first question. The second one is about, in terms of how important is the regional streamlining of his coordination in this project. So there was things mentioned like the haze-free labeling, and also the previous speaker mentioned about the importance of the quality of air quality data. So these kind of things, is it also a priority in the list of things that this project is trying to achieve, to really get sort of a regional approach on these things like data and standards and all that, or will it be more at the national level? So that's the second one. And the final one, so sorry that there's a few things, just for my own clarity as well, is this level or this stage more focused to the north, or is it going to be throughout the north and the south as well, the haze problem? Thank you very much.
So, maybe Serena, please start.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Thanks, Helena, for the questions. First one, I think, is in the project. The master project itself is a 5-year project funded by IFA, working together with the ASEAN member state and also ASEAN Secretariat, together with the 2 implementing partners, C4 and GEC. And we are looking at the 3 main sectors for now under the project. The first one, component 1, we have the develop training modules, improve capacity, and also awareness of the member state on this haze issue, and also the land management. So it's more on the national level for the trainers of trainers, and then hope that the government using their national budget or other project budget to implement the subnational and also local level training programs. And for the component 2 is mainly on the develop training materials or the selected ASEAN documents that we have in our database, and then try to update and to summarize some of the documents, because usually the document have a bit lengthy. Then want to make it simplified and then to distribute to the member state. So component 3, basically this is one of it, the ASEAN investment framework, and then we have another one is to set up the stakeholder platform. It's more on the communicating issues that we have in the region. And the other one is how to promote this regional cooperation of ASEAN, because ASEAN, we have been doing a lot of things to tackle this issue, but sometimes it just undermine, and it's not really promoting to the regional and international platform. So through this project, we try to not to really promote it, but we want to inform the regional and also international stakeholders that we are doing our part. But of course, we need help. We need further support from outsiders, not only relying on the national budget, but also have the international budget and also technical and also technologies to improve our own systems. So your second question relate to this investment framework. We go through the process already with the ASEAN Secretariat and also member state. We have an ongoing, that time we have a continuous discussion with the stakeholders. So these stakeholders is not only the policy makers, but we also invite the funding agencies. We invite the national funding agencies, IUCN, GIZ, and the others to come together to discuss and also discuss with the private sector as well. So because you know that the private sector, they have already their existing system. So they are the one to manage most of the land because it's under the community or under the whatever their business models. So we need to include this private sector. Of course, when we talk about private sector, we will have the local actions with the communities because we are now talking about no one left behind. So we need to get everyone on board and then to do really 2 things at the local level. So this is the thing that we have the top-down system and also the bottom-up system to get this together. So I think that mostly answer your questions. Dr. Wong?
Yeah, Dr. Wong, I think particularly comment on the focus. Is it only north and south? And the modality moving forward, is it going to be a clearinghouse or a more broader mechanism?
I think quite good question to clarify this. I think it appears like, a project which is sort of a single initiative. But this project is really ASEAN project, support ASEAN in overall. So it's not mean a project just try to implement a minor thing. That this on the policy level, which is consists of three important elements from data information, from the capacity building, and the key guiding document as the way to guide coordination, cooperation of ASEAN level. So it's a project, but the project to support ASEAN. It's endorsed by ASEAN member states. This is the key message to understand about the project. While it comes to investment framework itself, I just would like to give you a bit clear on this matter because there are two aspects of the investment framework. One, we talk about investment framework itself, which is a guiding document to set up something, to guide something for implement some of the key policy direction of ASEAN, including the roadmap of ASEAN, including investment frame, including the Asian Peatland Management Strategy. This is the way the two important documents that have been endorsed by the ASEAN sectoral body and ASEAN leader, but it's no clear in terms of resolve how to implement. So that is the support document of the investment framework to provide the guidance how to access to the finance and investment. So with that, this is not in the purpose to set up mechanism centralized management of resources and distribute, not. This is just the way to create opportunity for people that non-haze and peatland involved to invest, because this to open up to make them aware of this opportunity from nature-based solution, from climate change sort of lens. There are number of opportunity and also biodiversity that could be number of opportunity to address the haze and peatland issue, not necessarily only from the peatland, what is traditional way of thinking as a investment or finance sort of aspect, but can come quite broader aspect as well. So when we have this is the way we believe a guiding document that can be communicated broader audience and interest party to invest or to join hand financing invest in the peatland and haze related matter. Otherwise they may not be familiar with that. This is the one of the guiding document to address the holistic more approach. Now come to the point whether this is really about North or South. This is about ASEAN, not only the North or Mekong region, but take this opportunity. We want to elevate the Mekong because some of the things, the North is quite a bit behind in terms of preparation for transboundary haze issue. Of course, the level effort of ASEAN it put together, but I mean the capacity and the different situation are also from the North, between the North and the South. The South it's quite advanced because this have been discussed in 1990, and the North it just start to join hand with the South, and that is the situation different. And also the root cause of the forest fire and land fire also different. With that, this is the way we can accelerate more, and that can generate more opportunity with this climate COP28 as an opportunity. Maybe the interest party can join hand to advance and to support the Mekong to lower emission. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bong. There was a second question more about the streamlining of data in the region or sub-region. Dr. Kisene, you mentioned in your presentation about how Thailand is supporting about the data gathering or monitoring. Could you elaborate a little bit more what Thailand is doing about that data and data sharing and making data available to the public?
So, actually, when we are providing the monitoring unit to countries is based on their request. And actually, Thailand is providing equipment, but we are not trying to access to any of the monitoring data. I mean, unless the country also willing to share within our platform. We used to develop the what to call Air for ASEAN application. So all the country that willing to share the monitoring data to our website would make it possible to. But in terms of cooperation, we just provide the equipment, and if the country are willing to share the information, that would be perfect. But that would be our next step, I think, because when we analyze the action in terms of regional level and sub-regional level, it is necessary to have all the data available. So that would be my response.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kisnik. Maybe I can ask for other contribution from the audience. We have some representatives of other member states in the north of ASEAN. Dr. Stray from Cambodia, senior ASEAN leader from Cambodia. Can you contribute about the experience in Cambodia and what action Cambodia is taking to address the issue of fires, local and the transboundary haze? Thank you.
Thank you, Faisal. And yes, I also would like to thank our thank you, Faisal, and also would like to thank other speakers. 4 or 5 speakers have speak on the what we are going together in the framework of ASEAN, especially in the Mekong region, to tackle forest and fire. So Cambodia is one of the parties to ASEAN Agreement on Transboundary Haze Pollution, and since the beginning we are actively involved in the implementation of this agreement. And I think Dr. Wong has also mentioned we also have 2 sub-regional regions. One is in the northern, where Cambodian is also, Cambodian is I can see the member of the northern part, and we have the southern part. And of course we are working together to commit, because in the northern part we do have what we call the Chiang Rai Action Plan, and this Chiang Rai Action Plan, all the Mekong member countries are working together and trying to achieve what is called the reduction of the annual hotspot. And recently we just conclude our MSC Mekong and the technical Mekong on the forest and fire in the Mekong in Nha Trang, Vietnam. And at this meeting we also come up with even the commitment of the extra reduction of the hotspot, because we know that dry season is coming. In the northern part, so we need to work even harder together. And of course, the commitment from one country will not be able to achieve the what we call the free haze ASEAN. So we do encourage all the member country. In general, but in specific in the Mekong region, working together on the reduction of the hotspot. And in last 2 years, I think in 2021, Cambodia working together with UNDP and what we call the Asia Clean Air Partnership, and to develop what we call the Clean Air Plan for Cambodia, because we know that when you are talking about the clean air is coming from different sectors, from transportation, it's from agriculture, from open burning, and from construction. I think these are all the factors that contribute, to the pollution in terms of the clean air. And in mitigation, for example, we have work on the open burning. The policy or what we call the strategy on the stopping of the illegal open burning. And you all know Cambodia is the agriculture country, right? Like many other agriculture countries, it's the practice where the people do so many open burning. So this kind of awareness or education is very important for our farmer, for the public, and for any people, who are involved in this factor. So this is what we are working together, and also together we also have implement so many ASEAN or Mekong regional projects, for example, peatland, the forest and fire in ASEAN. This is all the activity that we are trying to work together. So the commitment is from the local, from national, and of course at the regional level. When we do one to achieve what is called the ASEAN Zero Haze. I mean, that is also clearly written in also our Chiang Mai Action Plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sray, for that good contribution. Are there any other questions or burning issues from the audience? Maybe I will just touch on one issue to clarify a little bit further about what we think is the modality under the ASEAN Investment Framework. So one of the things we have done, I think everyone should have a copy of the leaflet, and in the center spells out the objectives and the key stakeholders and strategies. And I think that within each of these areas, we have been working with the member states to identify specific projects, initiatives, work that needs to be done. And there will be a series of further elaboration to develop, one could say, a portfolio of priority projects and try to match that with the interest from the different financing agencies. And it's not just the international community that we're engaging with. We have, for example, the CIMB Bank, which is one of ASEAN's largest banking group, which has set a target of about 15 million billion US dollar expenditure or fund allocation to sustainable activities, have committed to work with the initiative and to look at ways through its operations in Cambodia, in Thailand, in Indonesia, Malaysia, to look how to be integrated within its portfolio. And if we can encourage other private finance institutions the similar mechanism, then I think there will be new potential sources of funds that can be channeled. In addition, there are a growing number of groups that want to invest in sustainable land management and climate reduction, and these may be from the regions. We have the large national funding like Temasek from Singapore, which already has set aside a large amount of funds for nature-based solution and carbon emission reduction. We have Hazana from Malaysia. We have other sovereign wealth groups at national level, and we have international finance as well. Speaking the other day was Aviva, which is one of the world's largest insurance groups, and that sees very high risk to insurance claims in Southeast Asia from increasing climate disasters. And so those are other sources of fund to invest in disaster and emission reduction. So the idea will be to link up the needs at the country and local level and some sub-regional level together with the financing sources, and then do one could say matchmaking, and to encourage projects to happen. It's not going to be proposed as a centralized or controlling mechanism, but there will be, you mentioned clearing house, some sort of clearing house, some sort of tracking, open, transparent tracking, so everyone can see what everyone is doing and prioritize filling in the gaps and avoiding duplication and build on other activities. So I think that's the modality that we're looking at, but it depends on working with multiple partners to move this forward. So I think we have about 5 minutes left, so maybe we can just have...
I think it's a small thing to add to that. I think the investment framework endorsed by ASEAN leader, but this not end, because the investment framework is just a big umbrella of investment to inform other stakeholders, which is non-haze or environment sector. That's the way we open up opportunity for them to involve or to engage in the haze or peatland related matter. With that, I think we aim to develop implementation plan within next to guide the implementation, to make this sort of important engagement platform to discuss how we can translate this investment framework to be attractive pole to engage other. I mean, from that sort of group of, like advisory group and so on, this is not only from the government sector, from ASEAN. That's the way we also mobilize or engage the private sector to take part in that conversation and form how this can be further enhance our investment framework and mobilize the different stakeholders to engage in this or to mobilize the resources, mobilize stakeholders and develop sort of partnerships, not only financial resources, but it could be partnership sort of arrangement as well. So for that reason, I think you may wish to keep this sort of fine-tune process and keep conversation with us. This is the way we can, give more update as well along the way of this investment framework. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Wong. Just as a wrap-up, maybe Dr. Kisani, do you have some final comments you'd like to make to the meeting about how everyone could support to Thailand with its effort to address the haze? And what are your key points? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Faisal. So I would just want to encourage everyone, I mean, not only the member state of ASEAN, but also the external donor for your consideration, because now Thailand, we are driving the clear sky strategy, the bilateral collaboration between Thailand, Myanmar, and Laos PDR. We are promoting the sustainable management of highland agricultural area, which is, I mean, among our three countries, the highland agricultural management is really important. So if everyone or every agency would like to join us on this strategy, please just approach to Thailand, and we are welcome any collaboration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kisani. Dr. Sri.
Thank you. I just want to add on the investment framework where all you have touched on earlier. I think it's very parallel to what Cambodians have just announced, the adoption of what we call Cambodia Circular Strategy, where we focus on three important: clean, green, and sustainable. So I think you all here, our partner are here. So I do encourage all the partners continue. I mean to work closely with us. I mean you can work with us in bilateral, and regional, and of course in the ASEAN region as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Serena.
Yeah, maybe from my side, I call upon all the stakeholders to work together with us. From the government side, from the ASEAN Secretariat to coordinate, from the private sector as well, from the existing mechanism, the CSR program, and also from the academic side, because you do a lot of this research, that we need to have the evidence base to make the policy better. So we need to work together, not the civil society and core just like shout outside the doors, but we need to work together to really tackle the issue and also to generate the fundings to implement actual actions on the ground. Thank you.
So thank you very much. We come to the end. And the last, I also would like to thank to Thai government and Thai Pavilion that allow us to present on this session, important session on investment framework, particularly focused on the Mekong country. And we already fully aware and acknowledge Thai contribution to the northern sub-region for the new target for the Chiang Rai Plan of Action and the Clear Sky Strategy. With that, we still strongly believe that Thai take the leadership role to make a difference in the Mekong sub-region and also to promote sort of connection and exchange between the north and south as you stand on the both sides of the sub-region. So I believe Thailand play important role to make it the region more closer sort of cooperation and exchange knowledge and skill to address transboundary haze issue and promote sustainable practice of peatland management. So with that, I think one of the most important thing also, the investment framework may not be just only for ASEAN member states. This document can guide, can support everyone and create opportunity for everyone to involve and to do better for ASEAN region. With that, keep fine-tune and engage with us. And if you have any further question, ASEAN Secretariat stand ready for you to reach out. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wong, for those remarks, which I think are wrapping up our session this morning. Thank you to all of the audience that have attended here in person and to all of those who are online. Thank you for our panel members, our speakers, including those that had to leave earlier, and Dr. Kisani online. Thank you to the technical team who've made this possible and the Thai Pavilion for hosting. Thank you also to the International Fund for Agricultural Development that through its support of the MAFSA program have supported the development of the investment frame. And thank you to all of you here for what you're going to do when you leave the room, and that is to promote or inform your colleagues about this and ask them for engagement in this process to try to bring together different stakeholders from private sector, public sector, investors and others to address this very severe challenge of the fires and the transboundary haze in both the Mekong region where we're discussing today, but across the whole of ASEAN. But with collective effort of multiple partners, we believe that it will be feasible to eliminate transboundary haze across ASEAN by 2030. That is the target and agreed by the ASEAN leaders. And I think if we really take this renewed effort and invest funds in changing the paradigm, we can come to a situation with a haze-free ASEAN by 2030, inshallah. Thank you very much for all your attention today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.